Hey everybody, it's that time. It's Baz86 and I'm here doing another new stream on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, it's been a while since I've done a flight simulator game, a long time. I think the last flight simulator game I ever touched was it's been that long ago. I didn't touch Microsoft Flight Simulator X, which was just for the PC. I didn't touch. I think I touched the one before that. Me and my dad were a big fan on Microsoft Flight Simulator. He loved it just as much as I did, and my dad was a pilot. He isn't anymore, but he was a pilot at the time, and I got to fly with him and be his co-pilot and things, and I feel as though there's flying in me, so we'll see. I don't know how this is gonna go, so let's go in game and let's see how we get on today with this. Obviously I'm gonna go straight to flight training because it has been a while since I set foot in a flight simulator game. So I'm going to familiarise myself with flight environment and flight controls. So getting to know my aircraft, the training session will familiarise you with the basic controls to spread your wings. You can explore different views around the aircraft, pitch and roll the aircraft using the yoke. I'm using a mouse and joystick, mouse and keyboard for this. I really should get myself a joystick. I had one at one point, but I didn't know I was going to get this game, so I didn't feel as though I needed one at the time, but I guess things changed. This is going to take 8 minutes. Alright, we're in from Sedona, Arizona to Sedona, Arizona in an Aviation Cessna 152. Alright, here we go, first time flying. In this training you will learn about the following: the aileron, the flaps, the rudder, the elevator. The rudder is located on the vertical tail of the plane and helps you. The yoke is like a steering wheel, you can turn but you can also pitch. I don't know, I guess we do that with a mouse. I guess. I haven't got a controller for this. I wonder if I can fly with. What is it? With the mouse. I'm hoping I can. It would be easier if I had a joystick or a controller, but I haven't got either. Gotta deal with what I got. Okay, just waiting for that blue line to get to the end. And this will be a first experience for me, as well as a first experience maybe for you. Okay.
Welcome to flight training. I'm your instructor, Captain Molina, but you can just call me Jess.
Just call me Jess.
This session, we'll get started with some basic controls. Sound good?
Controls sound good.
First things first, let's get familiar with your surroundings. Don't worry, I've got the stick while you get your bearings. Out your side windows, you can see we have great visibility over Sedona today.
Hold control left or control right.
This is Red Rock territory. Beautiful, isn't it?
Left, right, up, down to translate the camera inside the cockpit. save a custom camera by, so let's say I wanted that camera. Control Alt 1. Control. He's flying the aircraft, so I'm just not worried. Control Alt 1. Get back to pilot view, pressing Control Space. Press Alt 1 anytime to call your custom camera.
See if you can spot the Sedona Airport.
See if you can spot the
runway
Sedona
should be a pretty
Airport.
easy landmark to
Runway should
find.
be pretty easy to locate. So, easy landmark to find. Hold S to focus on the Sedona Airport.
There you go. Visual confirmation on the airport.
Okay, it's behind us.
Now that we're oriented, it's your turn. Time to fly this bird.
Time to fly this bird.
The first control
First
on our
control
training list is the
on our
yoke.
training list is the yoke.
I still remember my
I still
first
remember my
instructor
first
saying
instructor
the
saying the
yoke
yoke
is
is
like a steering wheel.
I'm sure you can turn.
Almost.
You can also pitch.
Sure, you can turn, but you can also pitch. For starters, it controls the ailerons. And the ailerons, they allow the plane to roll and bank
And the
into
other
turns.
ones allow the plane to roll and bank into turns.
Go ahead and try rolling
Go ahead
to the right.
and try rolling to the right. Move your yoke gently right to roll your aircraft. Number 6.
Go ahead and try rolling to the right. Nice. Now let's see you level back out.
Number 1. Number 8. Yes, it's definitely harder to control with the keyboard. Whoa, 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 whoa. I definitely need a...
You left the training airspace, you need to go back.
Okay.
Good. Of course, the yoke also controls the elevator.
Yes, it'd
And
be
the
a lot
elevator
easier
affects the plane's pitch, right?
if I had.
Pull back on the stick, the plane starts to climb. Give it a shot. The most valuable things in aviation are speed and altitude. But notice, when you're pitching up, your speed is decreasing. You could add more power. Or for now, let's just pitch down.
Right, let's just get it sorted. Get level. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need.
Just like that. Your speed's picking up again as the nose pitches down.
We're gonna spin.
As you level back out, let's talk about another control. The rudders at your feet. Rudder pedals control
Oh,
the
yeah,
aircraft.
crash.
You left the training.
Area crash. Restart. Is there any way I can bring in a pad? pad would greatly help me. Or a joystick. It's definitely harder to fly without. What's that connected to? That's connected to that. Can't use that.
Welcome to flight training. I'm your instructor, Captain Molina, but you can just call me Jess. This session, we'll get started with some basic controls. Sound good? First things first, let's get familiar with your surroundings. Don't worry, I've got the stick while you get your bearings. Out your side windows, you can see we have great visibility over Sedona today. Out your side windows, you can see we have great visibility over Sedona today. This is Red Rock territory. Beautiful, isn't it?
Remember, I'm just practicing flying. I haven't even started trying to.
See if you can spot the Sedona airport. The runway should be a pretty easy landmark to find. There you go. Visual confirmation on the airport. Now that we're oriented, it's your turn. Time to fly this bird. The first control on our training list is the yoke. I still remember my first instructor saying the yoke is like a steering wheel. Almost. Sure, you can turn, but you can also pitch. For starters, it controls the ailerons. And the ailerons, they allow the plane to roll and bank into turns. Go ahead and try rolling to the right. Go ahead and try rolling to the right. Nice. Now let's see you level back out. Give it a shot.
Pull back on the stick.
Pull back on the stick. The plane starts to climb. Give it a shot. The most valuable things in aviation are speed and altitude. But notice, when you're pitching up, your speed is decreasing. You could add more power. Or for now, let's just pitch down.
Pitch down. They've actually got that the wrong way around. 8 is forward.
Just like that, your speed's picking up again as the nose pitches down. As you level back out, let's talk about another control, the rudders at your feet. Rudder pedals control
Rudder
the
pedals control the
aircraft's
aircraft's
side-to-side movement, also known as yaw.
Yaw!
On the ground,
On the
those
ground,
pedals
those pedals are going to steer the plane left or right. Up there,
Up
they're
here, they properly align us during turns. Try them out, and watch the plane's nose skew to either side.
Number 8 and enter to skew aircraft nose. 2. Whoa, 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 what are you doing? No,
Try them out,
touchy.
and watch the plane's nose skew to either side.
Would you give it a lot on here and
Try them out, and watch the plane's nose skew to either side. Simple enough, right? Before we go on, let's bring the plane back to straight-up flight. Make sure your dashboard is aligned 3 to 4 inches below the horizon for a cruise attitude.
what? I don't get what that actually does.
Okay, the last thing we're gonna cover now is the throttle. If you have the need for speed, then the throttle's for you. Full control over the power output of the engine. Let's see what happens when you cut all the power.
I don't want to cut the power. What are you telling me to do? Oh god. Really? You want me to cut the power? Are you kidding me? Right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Let's see what happens when you cut all the power.
That didn't work.
Let's see what happens when you cut all the power.
Whoa.
Let's see what happens when you cut all the power.
F2 doesn't work.
Let's see what happens when you cut all the power. Surprise, surprise. Our altitude is decreasing. This might be a good PSA. Always keep an eye on your surroundings, because nobody likes a low-flying duck. Alright, let's go ahead and throttle back up.
Up. Little taps on the keyboard.
There you go. Speed is increasing, and as long as we maintain the same attitude, our altitude will keep
I
climbing
really need
too.
a man to get me a joystick. I just need to get a joystick myself.
You're really getting the hang of your controls. Before long, you won't even need a co-pilot. Until then, if you want help with the radio or checklists or simply flying the plane, I'll be here. You can pass me the controls when you're ready to finish your session, or keep flying. It is a great day after all.
Little touches to the plane. It leveled. The wings.
Alright, I have control. Good job.
Right, use a quick view to quickly look to the side, translate camera inside the cockpit, use free look to look around, save a custom camera, use camera reset to get back to the default. Look, gently right to wrong. Next. Training flight altitudes and instruments. Yep, let's go to the next one. Okay, so we got the basics down. Our first one was not great because I was getting used to the thing. Give me just a second, guys. Oh, it's going to give me a chance, isn't it? So. Right, let's not press that yet. And I'll be right back. I just need to check if my wife is up. Be just a second. Right, I'm ready.
Today we're talking about attitudes of flight, how your plane is oriented relative to the horizon. If you look outside, you can see the cockpit is just about 4 inches below the horizon line. We're flying straight with a decent rate of speed. This is the cruise attitude. Let's see how it reads on your instruments. Take a look at the attitude indicator. As the name implies, it shows your current attitude. The white line is the horizon, with the sky above and the ground below.
White line is the horizon with the sky above and
That
the ground.
orange element in the middle,
Orange
aligned with the horizon, that's your plane. Just like we saw outside, our current attitude reads pretty much straight and level. Okay, now let's see how much power the engine's generating. Check your tachometer. Looks like we're pushing around 2,300 revolutions per minute. Combined, attitude and engine RPMs translate to aircraft performance.
Aircraft performance.
Which leads us to your airspeed indicator.
Airspeed indicator.
Now, last but not least, check your altimeter. To figure out your altitude, you always want to read the small needle first. That's how many thousands of feet up you are. Then on to the big needle for the hundreds. With our current attitude and power output, we're holding a speed of 90 knots and a stable altitude of 6,000 feet.
Stable altitude of 6,000 feet.
But that's about to change. Take the stick when you're ready.
That's about to change. Take the stick when you're ready.
Pull back slightly on the yoke to raise the nose just above the horizon line.
Raise the nose just about the horizon line, just about 2 inches.
Make sure you don't pitch up too much, or the angle will be too steep to create lift. And without enough lift, we'll stall. Alright, go full throttle and start climbing.
Go full throttle and start climbing.
Pull back slightly on the yoke to raise the nose just above the horizon line. About 2 inches. Welcome to the climb attitude. See how it shows up on your attitude indicator and tachometer? According to your altimeter, we're gaining altitude. But we're losing airspeed even at full throttle, proving you can't avoid basic physics while making a climb. Okay, before we go on, let's get back to a cruise attitude. Ease up on the yoke and aim your nose just below the horizon. Then throttle back down to 2,300 RPMs. Nice job. We're now set up with the same attitude and power we had at the top of our lesson. Next up is the descent attitude. Start by reducing your RPMs to 1,800. Then drop the plane's nose a bit further below the horizon.
This is a real test to see if you can do it with a key.
As expected, with a nose-down attitude, our altitude is decreasing, while our speed is picking up. Why don't you get us back to a cruise attitude, and we'll hit the last part of our lesson. There we go. Now that we know how to cruise, climb, and descend, let's talk about the turn attitude. Gently pull the yoke left or right to start rolling the plane.
Gently pull the yoke left or right to start rolling the plane.
If you take a look outside, you can see how our attitude's changed, but you can also check your instruments for the details. As a general rule, you always want to keep your turns under 30 degrees. At the top of your attitude indicator, there's a series of notches representing 10 degrees each. Use them to control your roll. Notice the more you turn, the more you need to pull back on the yoke to maintain altitude. When you're rolling out, you'll need to do the opposite. Roll and push at the same time. The more you know about the main attitudes of flight, the closer you get to that pilot state of mind. So keep practicing, and whenever you're done, pass me the controls.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. A combination of right turn, use left turn to hold your. That's it. Okay.
Thanks. I've got control now.
Yours.
Well done.
Right, so that's that. Take off and level flight. This is an interesting one. This is going to help me a lot. Just taking a drink while it's loading, guys. Okay, we're going out of Sedona Airport. go.
There's an old saying I like. A mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere. Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember. First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position. The rudder pedals should make steering the plane pretty easy.
Turn off your parking brakes. None. Right. That's our parking brake off. Align aircraft on the center of the runway. Ah, okay. Well,
All right, let's do this. Apply full power and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go.
is there any way to do this easily?
Use your rudders to stay on the center line and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots. Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke. Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. And we're airborne. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees. Maintain 75 knots, and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time.
Go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. Straighten the wings. Frick, I didn't do that. Jesus Christ. Spin.
5,500 feet. A nice, safe altitude for part 2 of our lesson.
That was laggy.
Straight and level flight.
Down.
First step here is adjusting our attitude.
Give it a little bit of... Remember, I'm doing this through keyboard, guys. low. Means our nose is up when you hear that sound. Little touches often and you can't get straighter than that. Down a bit, too high. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, stop the plane. I'm going to stay at this altitude. I don't think the plane is straight. If you think the plane is straight, you're in line. Right. Okay, now bring it down. flying too high. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what's happening. Up a bit.
We're in a cruise attitude,
Done.
pushing max power. To stay level at our target
Oh yeah,
altitude,
actually, let's start by
let's
easing the throttle back to
throttle back to
18,000
1800 RPMs.
RPM.
You probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle. If you feel our pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim.
Oh, we need to add trim. We need to go up. We're going to end up saying hello to the trees. Yeah, ain't happening. Okay. Alright.
There's an old saying I like. A mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere. Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember. First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position. The rudder pedals should make steering the plane pretty easy.
Right, so let's get... bit more. Question is that actually doing anything? Ah, it is. Okay, so it's doing it slowly. Should be rolling. That way.
All right, let's do this. Apply full power and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go.
Okay. So takeoff is pretty simple-ish. Just keep it straight. Do what we need to do.
Use your rudders to stay on the center line and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots. Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke. Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. And we're airborne. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees. Maintain 75 knots, and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time.
Sorry if I'm not talking, just concentrate. If I do what we are with them. 70 knots. Just pop it down just a little bit more. So our nose is a bit high.
Ah, 5,500 feet. A nice, safe altitude for part 2 of our lesson. Straight and level flight. First step here is adjusting our attitude.
Okay, not bad. Our airspeed's gone up a bit. Need to come down. That's how that would look. It's when the controls don't respond. We're gonna have to keep away from those. We have to keep away from those bounties. Make a turn. Pretty close to the ground, I would say. Wouldn't you?
We're in a cruise attitude, pushing max power. To stay level at our target altitude, let's start by easing the throttle back to 1,800 RPMs.
Let's just aim for over there a second.
probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke. Drag the trim down when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle. If you feel our pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim.
Yeah, still. Fine dead stick. Jesus Christ. Yeah, tis that cabal, Chris. It's easy when you got a joystick. When you got a keyboard, it's a little bit difficult to adjust. Maybe there's a maybe there's a way to keep the throttle where it is.
There's an old saying I like. A mile of road will take you a mile. A mile of runway will take you anywhere. Taking off isn't hard, but there are a few key points to remember. First, we always take off into the wind, which won't be an issue on a calm day like today. Second, before we enter a runway, we always make sure it's clear. Everything looks good, no cross traffic. Go ahead and taxi into position. The rudder pedals should make steering the plane pretty easy.
Right, hang on. Just take that out of the equation for a sec. Elevator trim. Elevator trim. Nose down. Flaps. Stick control. Throttle. What I really need to know is where is my RPM for my throttle. That would be a good idea. Marker beacon. Is that wait? Is that it there? Vertical speed 100 feet per minute. Turn coordinator. So my airspeed is that. Which I know how to do my airspeed. What? Yeah, the RPM gauge. Yeah, I think you're right, but where is it on the instrument panel? That's my airspeed. That's my ul- that's my altimeter meter or altitude meter. That's my. I know what that is. Can't remember though. Yeah, that's that. Remember, I'm not going anywhere. The RPM goes by the cockpit side. Ha! Great. Awesome. So my right. That's the baby. It didn't point that out to me. But that's the RPM and 18,000. I guess it does it in. It does right. So it's at. So 18,000 would be 15, 16, 17. I'm going by the mouse. 18,000. There. That's 19, 20, 25,000, 30,000. So it's at, what was that? 5, 6, 7, between 7 and 8,000. Right, so while, hang on. What did that just tell me? Turn nav system, decrease. Yeah. Right. Oh, I thought it was measured in thousands. Oh. So you're saying that that's 500. That's 500. What's that? That's five. So hang on. Five. Let's just get this right together. So that's 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, or 1000, 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400, 1500, 16, 1700, 1800. So 18 would be, yeah, 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 yeah. So if you can see my mouse, it's there. That's 1800. And yeah, I see it's measured in hundreds because it says RPM times 100. Duh. Right, would be just left of the 20. Cheers for the help, by the way, Cabal Chris. It's been a while since I've been in flight simulator or flight school, and without a, I know it's stupid, but without a joystick, it's it's kind of a little bit more difficult. I have got a joystick coming, or I have got a joystick on the way. Or I will be getting a joystick on the way. Okay, so let's just do that. Right, that's the parking brake off. So, actually, hang on. While I've got the parking, let's just put the parking brake back on. While I've got the parking brake on, which I believe I do, let's just have a mess around with the RPM so we can get the hang of it. I think that sounds like a good idea. Where does it tell me that the brakes are on? Yeah, right, it is engaged. Okay, so let's have just a mess about with the RPM. Remember, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to go anywhere. I think that sounds like a good idea. Just mess about with the RPMs. Get them while you're on the ground. Just have a mess about. Just getting used to it. Is that going up? My answer is no. Oh, that's why it's not going up, you absolute muppet. You're pressing number 2. Right, F3. There we go. Right. Okay. So that's up to 600. Remember, the parking brake is on, so the plane ain't going nowhere. Let's just have a play about. So that's that. That's 900. Again. How much? Hang on. How much throttle is that? That's 16% throttle, and we've got just over 1000 RPM. So that's 17%, and we're making our way up. I recommend this to everybody, by the way. Just sit on the park, just get used to the RPM. If you're not used to it, I would suggest just sitting on your park brake. Just practice. That's it, 21, and we're up to what is that? 10, 11, 12, 1200. I think because I forgot about the RPM when I was in the air, I just cut the throttle completely, and then I stalled because I had no power. So I've got to start looking at the RPM while I'm in mid-flight. So that's 15 RPM with the throttle control at 41%. Okay. So then let's move that up again. As you see, the needle's going up. That's 1600. That's even more. That's up to 1700. I am going to write this down, by the way. And that, my friends, is 1800 on the smack, which 1800 with 62% throttle. So I'm going to put that down. So 18. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write that down. 1800 RPM. Slap bang in the middle equals 62% throttle. 62% throttle. 62% throttle. Right. I'd agree that was a good. So let's just highlight that. Make sure 1800 RPM represents 62% throttle. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's one way I remember things. Okay, let's come out of here. Are we still on 1800? Yeah. Now this pitch up, pitch down business, I haven't really got to grips with that yet. But hopefully we'll, as we're flying, we should experience that. Right, let's center back the thing. Don't forget to whack down the throttle again. Okay. From what I remember, 20 throttle gets us moving. So parking brake off. brake is going.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, that's better.
Apply full power and I'll walk you through the takeoff as we go.
Oh, that's a lot better. Right, just while I got the brake engaged, let's just look at what RPM we're on. I'm going to be doing this a lot now, guys. I'll be checking. So we're at 1200 RPM with the brake. Yep, see the aircraft on the ground. I know that. Go. Cabal Chris, do you think we're ready? I think we're ready. I think we're ready to go. Let's center that. Let's get the mouse out the way, just for right now. Alright, let's increase. Let's take the parking brake off. Or take not the parking brake, the brake that we have at the moment connected. And let's go.
Use your rudders to stay on the center line and keep pushing power until you reach 55 knots. Good. Now gently pull back on the yoke. Line up the top of your instrument panel so it's a couple inches above the horizon. That'll pitch us up and set a good climb attitude. And we're airborne. Focus on flying straight. Use your rudders to keep the runway heading of 210 degrees. Maintain 75 knots, and we'll reach our target altitude of 5,500 feet in no time.
I can see my RPM. Let's get down to let's get down to 55,000 feet. Raising those.
and level flight. First step here is adjusting our attitude.
You can't say that plane isn't straight. Whoa, 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 whoa. See, this is what I hate, when the plane decides to just do what it wants.
We're in a cruise attitude, pushing max power. To stay level at our target altitude, let's start by easing the throttle back to 1800 RPMs.
Okay, this is the time when we lower the RPMs. Okay, so we do that by decreasing the RPMs ever so slightly. Not all the way down, just enough that we're that's at 20. A little bit more. Hello, Timothy Gould. Thank you for subscribing, man. Much appreciated. Welcome to the world of flying. Let's go up a bit. Let's keep. We've got the RPMs at the right point. We just need to either go down or go up. I think. If I knew what altitude, okay, I need to go down.
Probably noticed, to maintain altitude, you need to pitch the nose up. You could just keep pulling on the yoke to hold steady, but that's not really a precise means of control. Probably better to adjust your trim wheel until you don't need to push or pull on the yoke.
Drag the trim down
when you need to set the nose up. Drag it up to set the nose down. Try adding trim to keep us at 5,500 feet without increasing throttle. If you feel our pitch slipping and need to get back to the proper attitude, don't worry. Just pull on the yoke, then dial in the right trim. The way I was taught, when you adjust the trim, you make rough changes at first to remove pressure on the yoke. Then small adjustments to find the perfect setting to keep your desired attitude. That's the key to straight and level flight. It saves you from constantly pushing or pulling on the yoke.
So trimming
and that
helps
gives you
us.
more time to enjoy the ride. If you want more practice using the trim,
go
for it.
More practice using the trim, go for it. Whenever you're ready to pass the controls, I'll be here. Right, so our trim is this baby right here. It's trim, neutral tape. So if we pitch up, we should see our plane going upwards. Trim is something I can't get over. I can't get my head over trim right now. I think if I press 1, trim is down. If I press 7, I think trim goes up. Yeah, trim's something I just can't get a hold of. Once you figure out from everything gets easier because you don't need to think about pitch or flying at altitude. You can mostly discard airspeed too, then you only need to work on heading. Okay. Alright, let's move on.
Okay, I have control. Hope you enjoyed the lesson.
Right, so that's that one done. Once you figure out trim. Yeah, trim's going to be a difficult one for me. I think if I had a joystick, it would probably be easier to use trim. But with keyboard, I think it's just easier just to use the yoke and just fiddle around with that. Once I get a joystick, I'll then start messing about with trim. And obviously when I do get joystick, I'll be doing these training lessons again just to get used to it. And I'll probably find it a little bit easier. Right, let's have a go at landing. Let me just get a quick drink while it's loading up. Chris, it feels as though you're my co-pilot sitting right next beside me, man. It's a nice little feeling to have you in my ear, so to speak. All right, so landing. I just noticed I'm flying a Cessna, and earlier on I went to press the gears to move them up, but obviously on a Cessna 152, the gears don't move. So I'm there pressing G, trying to put the gears back up, and obviously that's not gonna work. Right, okay, here we go. Let's have a look. Let's have a bash at landing.
My first instructor used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece. The man was a terminal pessimist, but he wasn't wrong. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. We've got clearance for a straight-in approach, so we don't have to complete the standard traffic pattern. And I've already set us up in landing configuration, at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. We're on the glide slope now. Maintain speed around 65 knots. Change your pitch if you need to, and keep your aim point on the runway number. When you're targeting the runway number, you want to keep it steady in your sights. If it looks like the number's moving up in your windscreen, you're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope.
Where's our run?
If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well, then you're too high. You'll need to add flaps to increase your rate of descent, but you'll also need to push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed.
extend flaps, press F8. I didn't know I had control. Where's the runway, first of all? You didn't tell me I had control of this plane. Us behind us.
SOP dictates we go around and try our approach again. Don't worry, you'll get it with practice.
You didn't tell me I had control of the bloody plane. Course training failed. You never told me I had control of the blooming plane. I thought you had control of it. Hence why I just went with it. Right. This time, at least let me know I've got control
My
of the
first
damn
instructor
plane.
used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece. The man was a terminal pessimist, but he wasn't wrong. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing.
Oh, I see it. I see
We've
it.
got clearance for a straight-in approach, so we don't have to complete the standard traffic pattern. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. We're on the glide slope now. Maintain speed around 65 knots. Change your pitch if you need to, and keep your aim point on the runway number. When you're targeting the runway number, you want to keep it steady in your sights. If it looks like the number's moving up in your windscreen, you're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope. If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well, then you're too high.
Well, freaking hell, come
You'll need
on.
to add flaps to increase your rate of descent, but you'll also need to
That's
push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed.
Coming in way too low.
Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway.
Yeah, just restart.
Then pull back
Freaking
slightly
hell,
on the yoke
restart,
to aim
man.
the nose just above it.
Ugh, Jesus Christ, restart. Yeah, I remember the lights, man. I know the lights.
My first instructor used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece. The man was a terminal pessimist, but he wasn't wrong. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. We've got clearance for a straight-in approach, so we don't have to complete the standard traffic pattern. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. We're on the glide slope now. Maintain speed around 65 knots. Change your pitch if you need to, and keep your aim point on the runway number. When you're targeting the runway number, you want to keep it steady in your sights. If it looks like the number's moving up in your windscreen, you're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope. If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well, then you're too high. You'll need to add flaps to increase your rate of descent, but you'll also need to push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed.
you give it too much, blue now. You're off on.
Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway. Then, pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. We're past the threshold, but still a bit high. Keep reducing altitude.
Frick's sake.
You should be...
Alright, I've got to extend my flaps sooner or later. I've got to do it later. Because the minute I have flaps, I've got to wait until I'm in the right area. Do you want half white and half red? Yeah, I know. Right, this is going to take a couple of tries. Let's get
My first
mouse out the
instructor
way.
used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece. The man was a terminal pessimist, but he wasn't wrong. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing.
Right.
We've got
I think I need
clearance
to
for a
put in
straight-in
flaps
approach, so we
right
don't have
at
to complete
the
the standard
end
traffic
point.
pattern.
Where am I going?
And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. We're on the glide slope now.
What the
Maintain
flipping
speed
hell are
around
you
65
doing?
knots. Change your pitch if you need
Oh
to,
my
and keep
God.
your aim point on the runway number. When you're targeting the runway number, you want to keep it steady in your sights.
Right, do not put flaps on until the end bit.
If it looks like the number's moving up in your windscreen, you're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope. If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well, then you're too high.
Coming in way too hot.
You'll need to add flaps to increase your rate of descent, but you'll also need to push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed. Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway. Then, pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it.
What the flipping hell's going on?
Okay, we're past...
Oh my god. This is definitely going to take a couple of goes.
My first instructor used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece. The man was a terminal pessimist, but he wasn't wrong. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. We've got clearance for a straight-in approach, so we don't have to complete the standard traffic pattern. And I've already set us up in landing configuration at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power.
Oh, you put just a
We're on
little
the
bit.
glide
All I
slope
want
now.
is just a little bit of touch on the yoke.
Maintain speed
But
around 65
unfortunately, it
knots.
just puts me.
Change your pitch if you need to, and keep your aim point on the runway number. When you're targeting the runway number, you want to keep it steady in your sights. If it looks like the number's moving up in your windscreen, you're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope. If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well, then you're too high. You'll need to add flaps to increase your rate of descent, But you'll also need to push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed.
I am determined to land this puppy.
Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway. Then, pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Okay, we're past the threshold. Start the flare.
Come on,
Keep
what the
pulling back
freaking
slowly.
hell are you
Let
doing?
the
You
plane
freaking
settle onto the
throttle.
runway. Don't push it down,
Oh
but don't
my
let it start
God.
climbing.
The throttle just decides to do what it wants. When I get near the thing. I don't get it. All I want is to just move the... You see, the problem is with the keyboard, when the things don't work, you're putting a lot... You know, you try to tap like I do when I'm actually flying, and when that happens, the it goes into lag mode, and things start breaking down.
My first instructor used to say the best part of flying is landing in one piece. The man was a terminal pessimist, but he wasn't wrong. Today, you're in charge of bringing us in for a safe landing. We've got clearance for a straight-in approach, so we don't have to complete the standard traffic pattern. And I've already set us up in landing configuration, at 65 knots with 10 degrees of flaps and idle power. We're on the glide slope now. Maintain speed around 65 knots. Change your pitch if you need to, and
what
keep
in the
your aim
world's
point
going
on the
on with
runway
that?
number. When you're targeting the runway number, you want to keep it steady in your sights. If it looks like the number's moving up in your windscreen, you're coming in low. You'll need to add a bit more throttle to get back on the slope. If it looks like the number's moving down in your windscreen, well, then you're too high. You'll need to add flaps to increase your rate of descent, but you'll also need to push forward and trim to change your attitude and maintain the same speed. Keep your aim point on the runway threshold. When you're 10 feet above the runway, it's time to flare. Once we pass the threshold, shift your aim point to the end of the runway. Then, pull back slightly on the yoke to aim the nose just above it. Okay, we're past the threshold. Start the flare. Keep pulling back slowly. Let the plane settle onto the runway. Don't
Right.
push it down, but don't let it start climbing. Nice. Now apply the brakes to slow us down and bring the plane to a stop.
I'm gonna go with that. It might have been a bouncy, bouncy, blooming. What is it? Bumpy, bouncy. Mate, it's laggy as heck. I'm I'm so jealous of the fact that you have a joystick. Because if I had a joystick, I'd probably be a lot better than this.
Great job. As they say, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. But if you can use the plane the next day, it's outstanding. Landings can be hard, even for seasoned pilots. Trust me, don't hesitate to practice. After all, that's what we're here for, right?
I'm going to take that. Cheers for that, Chris. Thanks, man. If you ever bounce again, don't panic. Mate, I panic anytime. I panic when I do most things, to be fair. But I'm going to take that as a check off the list. I'm obviously going to practice with other planes, but right now I'm just going to stick with that. Let's have a go at traffic pattern. I am going to do some free flying as well. I know I'm relying on training at the moment, but I will try some free flight. In this training, you'll learn about the following: 1. Crosswind, 2. Downwind, 3. Base, 4. Final. When approaching, I should have read that. During the initial climb, you should maintain the runway heading. In the left-hand pattern, all your turns will be to the left, obviously. During a complete traffic pattern, the name of the different legs are crosswind, downwind, base, and final approach. So it's basically a take-off and land, a touch and go. Well, not a touch and go. Touch and go is different. It's a take-off, go round, come back. We start off on the.
Let's be honest, no one likes going around in circles, unless you're a pilot training on traffic patterns. Sedona's standard traffic pattern follows a 1,000-foot altitude around the main runway. By the time we're through here, you'll know how to complete the full run from takeoff to landing. So let's get started.
Well, I'm guessing I need full throttle for this. Let's get that off. I think the part brakes off. It did tell me. I believe the part brakes off. We'll find out. Oh, for flip's sake.
When we're up, keep us aligned with the runway and climb to 5,400 feet. We're going for a left-hand traffic pattern. Once we reach altitude, you're gonna start turning left 90 degrees toward a 122-degree heading.
Frick me.
Okay, we're in the pattern. Get ready to enter the crosswind section. Good. Keep going till you reach the traffic pattern altitude of 5,700 feet.
Come on, get it together.
Ready to make
Get
your
it
left
together.
turn downwind? When the runway appears at the halfway point of your wing
Oh
strut,
my God.
you'll know you're at a good glide distance.
What the flip are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? Oh my god, what in the world is going on? I don't even have control of the damn thing. Hold on. What in the flip are you doing? You wouldn't believe it, but I am trying to turn right.
You've left the training airspace. You need to go back.
Let's go back. That just went from bad to worse. I don't know what really happened there. I have no clue. My
We've got the
controls
wind at our
decided to
back
do what
now.
they
We're
wanted
on
to
the
do.
right track. Lower your nose to a cruise attitude and reduce power to 2100 RPMs. Once your speed is in the white arc, add 10 degrees of flaps to prep us for landing. Now's not a bad time to check if the runway is looking good.
What the heck? Extend flaps.
And
What?
it probably goes without saying, always watch out for other planes entering or exiting the pattern. We're gonna fly past the end of the runway here. Keep going until you see it at a 45-degree angle behind you. That's your cue to turn left again, onto the base leg.
Yeah, I know the keyboard controls are terrible. They're absolutely painful. But it's what I've got to deal with right now. So you can feel my pain, Chris. I'm glad you can feel my pain. Send me a controller, send me a joystick, ASAP. I still got to land this guy as well.
Alright, reduce power to idle to start losing altitude and maintain cruise attitude. Keep an eye on the runway as we get ready for our final turn. That'll also keep our speed around 65 knots. There we go. The runway's in full view. Make sure to keep the plane centered on approach.
What does flare mean?
If you're too high, add flaps. Too low, add power to maintain the glide path.
Come on, I'm there. Flip's sake.
Way to stick the landing. Now, just apply the brakes to slow your roll. And make sure you don't stop on the runway, of course. If other planes are looking to land, we've got to move. Take one of the taxiways on the right.
We gotta get off the runway, come on. Why are we not moving? Seriously, we're doing... Oh, that's why we're not moving. Duh. Okay. Decrease, decrease, decrease. Decrease. Increase. Parking brake. Decrease it even more. What the flipping hell are you doing?
Good job. As an old instructor said to me, not only did you not die, you're really learning to fly.
Wow. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, mate. I don't know how I was on. I don't know why it put me on a parking brake straight away. See, it's doing things that I don't ask of it. Right, first solo flight. Let's try that, shall we? I didn't ask it to put it in a parking brake. I didn't ask. Oh my days. Right, okay. It's doing things I wouldn't normally ask it to do. First taxi line off the runway, or once you're slow enough. Right, it's basically if I can't fly in this, I can't fly in anything.
It's time. Your first solo flight. I'll be watching from the ground in radio contact if you need me, but something tells me you won't. Your goal is to complete Sedona's left-hand traffic pattern on your own. Remember what we covered in our previous sessions, and you'll be just fine. Good luck. See you on the other side.
Okay, I wish this game had a thing where you could get a co-pilot. Yeah, I wish you could get. Yeah, it would be nice, man. It would be nice to do that. Right, let's take parking brake off. Let's put it up to. Let's get that going. do the flight. Want to fly in a small formation. You do free. Mate, I'll probably, with the way these controls are, I'll probably end up slamming into the back of you, man. I think there is, man. I think there is. Yes, you make sure you're on the safe side, man. Have we got a map? Where's? Okay, so the pattern's there. So the airport is right there. We've somehow just managed to make a turn. Chris, what would you suggest when making your approach for the RPMs? I have 2400 RPM right now. When I'm coming in for final approach, would you recommend what? Somewhere between 2000 and 1500 with obviously flaps down. Would you recommend that? Do you think that's ideal? Where's my airport? The airport's behind me. Okay, the airport should be out my left side window, which it isn't. Get round again. Yeah, that's a good range. Okay. And should I put, Chris? Do you think I should put flaps on at the at like the last minute or something? Okay, I think, yeah, my my airport's there.
start the lesson over.
What do you mean start the lesson over? What? Huh. It's because putting flaps down changes the way the plane flies, and during its last second can throw you off. I fly gliders in my life, so normally I don't know about RPM. Okay. Nice, man. I think I did pretty well. I don't know what you're talking about. You failed to complete a lesson. I think I did quite well. You landed in the right... Yeah, I had a great landing. That was the best landing I've ever done. What? I don't know what the hell she was complaining about. I did fine. You know what? I'm gonna go into free flight. I think I'm ready. I don't know what was. Hello to the 3 people watching. Big shout out to all of you guys. Welcome to this Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hope you guys are doing alright. We're going to keep the stream rolling here, and we're going to go into free flight. So, my departure airport. I'm going to use now I'm not a big, I don't know too much about airport things, so I'm going to go down into the map. I'm going to use Leeds Bradford. There's Leeds Bradford. Let's say I want to fly from, I don't have Leeds Bradford on here. Newcastle, Manchester, Liverpool, Italy. Right, I know EGKK, so I know that one. We'll go from Edinburgh. It's just gonna be a small flight from Edinburgh, set as departure, and we're gonna go to EGLL. We'll go to EGLL. Set as arrival. Okay, runway 27R from runway 30. Show legend. Flight conditions. Here we go. Off group only. Live traffic. Custom preset. Live weather. R. Live airport activity. Probably the busiest blooming airport I could have thought of going to. Approach 1197. Okay. View VFR direct GPS. Low altitude airlines, high altitude airlines, direct GPS. What to set it to multiplayer? It's just a system detects when the plane flies through areas and then determines the next task. We want to set it to multiplayer. Give me just a sec. I just need to just give me a little bit of time, guys. I'll be right back. Just going to have a quick toilet break. I'll be right back. Hold fire, guys. I'll be literally like 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute. I know I should fly the 152, Chris, but because my dad's plane was the Beechcraft King Air, I feel as though I might have a little bit more control because I flew it in real life with my dad. So if I had a joystick, I'd have more experience. I've got more experience flying a Beechcraft King Air than I do the Cessna 152. So that's why I've picked this plane. I feel as though I'll benefit more with it. And seeing as this is my first flight, first actual flight, that's why I've decided to take such a short distance from what is it, Edinburgh to Heathrow, just to get the feel for it. I know I've got autopilot to help me this time, but we should be okay. Hide legend, show legend. Approach procedure and radar minimums, no published instrument procedures. Okay. What's tab? Tab, aircraft, blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay. Open filters. What's filters? Background menu. Airport on. Yeah, got that. Go back. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Yep. Leave that as it is. That's my nav point. Flight control, flight conditions, right. Then you say it to live players so I can fly with you, yeah, alright. Yeah. Live traffic, live, all that. Okay, that's done, man. Also, you should fly. Right, I think we're ready. Now, hopefully, I think I should have made sure I was on taxiway because I'm on the runway and this is an active. Damn, I forgot to put myself on a taxiway so we could start off as properly, you know. Damn it.
Beechcraft Alpha Sierra. X-ray Golf Sierra Kilo ready at runway 30 departure to the south.
Beechcraft Alpha Sierra. X-ray Golf
Right.
Sierra Kilo cleared for takeoff runway 30
Whereabouts
departure
am I?
to the south approved.
Cleared for takeoff runway 30 Beechcraft Golf Sierra Kilo.
Right. I think. I'm sure they're pretty, hang on, what the hell? I'm not even moving. What are you doing? Why is it? I didn't even tell it to do that. Alright. Ready to fly. What's this? Toggle active pause, ATC, camera, checklist, Shift C. Before engine starting, starting engine. Before starting engine. Parking brake set, power levels. Is complete. Right oil pressure check. This is a bad idea because I'm sitting on the runway and I might have someone. See, this is what I can't be doing. I can't be going through a checklist if I can't. Right, so autopilot, if I ever need it, is Alt Z. Alright. We got lights on, I believe. I think we do. No, we friggin' don't. Okay, that's telling me the air brake was on. We need... It's... I can't be sitting on the runway now. Right, let's get in the air.
Beechcraft Golf Sierra Kilo. Continue for south departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace. Beechcraft Golf Sierra Kilo. Please acknowledge.
Okay, I got the old pilot
Beechcraft
on.
Golf Sierra Kilo. You are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
Ah. Are we even in?
Beechcraft Golf Sierra Kilo. Please acknowledge.
Right, so we're going in the absolutely opposite direction. We need to change. So, okay. Right, we needed to. I needed to.
Beechcraft Golf Sierra Kilo. Did you copy?
Um, amazed I'm doing this at night, to be honest. And what a time to be flying. It's night time.
Beechcraft Golf Sierra Kilo ATC. Services terminated.
Saying hello to the ground. Pull up. Wow. Yeah, maybe I need to set parameters for the autopilot before you turn it on. I need to make sure that I'm not right. I need to be in a taxiway. That's what I should have done. Then I would, yeah. If I had, because we're traveling at night as well. This is a whole different thing, whole different ball game.
Edinburgh Tower, Beechcraft Alpha Sierra. X-ray Golf Sierra Kilo at runway 30 ready for takeoff south departure.
Beechcraft Alpha Sierra. X-ray Golf Sierra Kilo cleared for takeoff. Runway 30 south departure approved.
Cleared for takeoff runway 30 Beechcraft Golf Sierra Kilo.
Alright, man. So what I need to do has to tell me my has to tell me my my parking brake is on. Right, what I do need. Okay, hang on. To stretch to. ETC camera. Scroll up. Right, the reason why I was doing what I was doing was I was travelling in the wrong direction. Okay, I need to get off the booming runway. That's one thing I need to do. Navilog. Fuel, AI control, checklist. Right. I want to go back to main menu. Wait, what? End. Right, let's set it up first. let's get on the let's get on the taxiway so I can, yeah, let's get on the taxiway. Let's do it again and just set ourselves up. Mate, I need to do all the checklists and set myself up and get just familiarised with that rather than me be sitting on the runway. Right, set departure point. So departure is going to be that's going to be departure. And I want my run. I don't want to be on the runway. I want to be at gate. Alright, I want to be at gate. Does it really matter? Gate. Let's be on. Let's be on gate 37. And then depart. Let's make a. Let's make. Let's go. Let's make it Gatwick this time. I'll go. How do I move the mouse, man? Right, that is departure. As arrival, sorry. And we'll runway 260 260L. Direct GPS. Right, fly. Look for the light switch too. Yeah, that might help. What is that? Does that to turn off the? Is that to turn off the lights in the cockpit? Is that what you're talking about? Okay. Right, we're on. Right. Okay, obviously everything's down at the moment. So let's. The park brake should be on, so let's press. Right.
Engaging autopilot.
Okay, let's have a look. So autopilot's already on, which we don't want. Oh, Shift Alt Z, Shift Alt Z. Wait, Alt Z. pilot. Heart rate. Pilot. No. Okay, so we've got. Okay, you're alright, Chris. So you're in the air. Okay. Bearing pointers. Right. So this is basically the same screen as that. That's fine. Audio. Com2. Com2 mic. This is com. Landing gear down, obviously. Flaps you don't have to touch. Let's do the checklist while I'm thinking about it. Just while we're sitting on here, man. Might as well. So after we've started the engine, before starting the engine, parking brake set, power levels idle. Parking brake set, release parking brake, power levers. Left throttle, right throttle. Oh, this is, right, this is before you start the engine, you absolute muppet. Okay. Battery switch on. Please complete. Right oil pressure. Right ignition and engine. Ignition and start switch must be set to off. Right ignition and engine start on. It's on the roof. Ah. Turn nav mode. Lights on. Where's lights? Okay. Parking brake. Release. Avionics. Master switch. It's telling me that because parking brake's on. Right, that's what it's doing. Okay, one sec. Transponder. Fuel. I'll wait. Where's the GPS Navilog? Channel 2. Oops. Sorry guys, the stream seems to cut out. Okay, I'm going to start this again. I'll start another stream here just to say I didn't know why that did what it did. I'll be back in just a little bit.